since starting 1-5, the Denver Broncos have turned it around. They've won 4 straight games, and 3 of them, Rob, over good teams. The Chiefs, the Bills, and the Minnesota Vikings, all of whom are playoff caliber teams in their separate conferences. And defensively, Rob, they've, ever since giving up the 70 piece, they've been taking the ball away. They've been getting forcing a lot of turnovers. And they're right there at the top of the league in takeaways since that week 3 debacle against Miami. And Russell Wilson, as we said earlier, having a resurgent year. I wouldn't say he's back to being the Russell Wilson of Seattle, but I would say he's back to being a good quarterback. Rob, he's got 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's the best TD to interception ratio in the league. He's top 3 in passer rating. Not throwing for a lot of yards. That's one thing. Only a little bit more than 200 yards a game passing, but he's not making the mistakes. And with their defense getting takeaways and him not making the mistakes, that's been big. I like to see them score more touchdowns, but I mean, he's got 19. Only 2 quarterbacks have more. But they got to find a way to score more. But what do you think of Denver? What are your thoughts on them? You know, they put themselves in position to have a shot at making the playoffs. I'm not putting them in just yet, but they got a shot.
I'm not giving them a parade. And I get it that things were really awful to start. They never should have been as bad as they were. Like, that was shocking to me at how poorly that they played. So now that it's kind of correct, they're still 500. Well, aren't they 5-5?
5-5. Yep.
Where are they? 5-5.
5-5.
Right,
Yep.
5-5. Yeah, I mean, so they're middle of the road, and it just it feels better, obviously, Chris, because it was so bad, and they got some wins now, and it is against some pretty good teams. And you talked about their defense and what Russell Wilson has done, but I still have like, it shouldn't have been as bad as it was, and I always question what was going on there, what was happening. And things have a way sometimes in the NFL of evening out and things working. They were never as bad. That 70 piece you talked about, that never should have happened.
Well,
talked about that was a defense.
They were top,
that was
10
top
defense
10 2
the
years,
last, two
years in a row.
Yep.
Yeah, like that should have never happened.
That was about.
And that's why people came down on Sean Payton, because we talk about defense all the time, Chris. That's a will and a want playing defense.
Right.
You gotta want to do it. And that was almost like, did they give up on him? You know, did they say, you know, okay, we'll show you and you'll be embarrassed? You know what I mean? Or what was that? So
it felt like earlier, Rob, that he had lost the team. Like you said, to give up 70. I mean, for any NFL team, I don't care if they were the
lost
worst
to the
defensive
Jets
team in the league, to give up 70. Right. It was bad. And we even had Greg Jennings on. Remember, he said he felt like Peyton's coming in there with a sense of entitlement rubbed the players the wrong way. And I don't know. I will say this, Rob. I think it is incredibly difficult for a coach to change his stripes with the same players. Meaning, if you, like in college, when I was playing college basketball, our coach, I had 2 different head coaches there, but our coach let us get away with a lot, right? He was kind of I guess you might call him a player's coach. We're getting away with a lot of stuff.
So what, he was running a country club?
I mean, it was just, we were just, you know, it wasn't a hard-nosed as it needed to be, and we weren't winning. And then one day, kind of mid-season or whatever, it had been a while of this going on, he wanted to really tighten the screws and, you know, become a hardcore coach. And it couldn't happen. Dudes were like, yo, we know that's not how you are. And it just didn't take. And now I think it's easier, Rob, to go from being a hardcore coach to softening it up a little bit. right? I think the reverse could happen. And maybe that's what Sean Payton
people
did.
think it's
fake. He
was
and
a phony. People be
when you're not like that, and then
fake.
you come right, absolutely. Now, but you can soften it a little because people already know, well, your style is hardcore, but you letting up a little to try to make things work. Okay, I think they'll go for that. And I don't know, Rob. I don't know if that's what Sean Payton's done. I agree they don't deserve a parade. They should have really been 5-5 anyway. And if they win a couple of their early games and lose a couple, it feels great now because they've won 4 straight and things were so bad. But at the end of the day, they are still 5-5 where you kind of thought they might be. But I will give him some credit. We were hard on him. I was hard on him when it was terrible early on. I'll give him credit for whatever he's done to kind of steer the ship in the right direction. Now, they got a lot of work.
He should get credit. There's no doubt.
Yeah. He did. It looked like it was sinking, Rob. But here's what I will say about them. Now, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not ready to put them in the playoffs. But it's a group of teams in the AFC that are fighting for those last few wild card spots. And
those last 9 wild card spots.
They play a lot of them, Rob. It's 3 wild card spots. So the Browns are one of those teams. They play them. That's their next game. The Texans are one of those teams. They play them. The Chargers, one of those teams. They play them twice. And the Raiders, one of those teams that they play. So let's see how good they are, Rob. They control their destiny. Like, even with the slow start, they can't give themselves any excuse. If they don't make the playoffs, unless they run the table and don't make it, then you can say, hey, we righted the ship and it was just too, we didn't start quick enough. But I would say when you look at the fact that they're playing a lot of the teams that they're trying to outduel for one of those wild card spots, I don't think they have any excuses. If they're really a good team now, then go out and win all but 1 or maybe 2 of those games and get to 10 and 7 or 11 and 6. Right.
Yeah, if they do that, then it would be a remarkable turnaround to the season. I'm not so sure that they're good enough to do that.
Yeah, that's asking a lot. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's a lot, and things have worked out in some situations for them. And as you say, if you're going to give people credit, blame when they lose, they got to get credit when they win. They've won these games because it could have been a total disaster. At one point, we thought like there was no turning back because
when
it just
you looked
didn't seem
at their
to be
schedule
effort.
too. Yeah, you thought, they got the Chiefs, the Bills, the Vikings.
Right.
They about to be in trouble. And to their credit, they play well. I think, Rob, one of the interesting things, whether they make the playoffs or not, I mean, if they make the playoffs and make a run, like win a game or 2, then, of course, you would think they're bringing back Russell Wilson. But if they either don't make the playoffs or make it and get bounced unceremoniously, get beat pretty bad in the first game, I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Russell Wilson because we know he's got the huge contract and he's played well this year. Will they bring him back? They could cut him in March or before, the new NFL season starts in March. They could cut him and get out of that contract. I mean, they still owe him about $85 million over 2 years, but they could get out of it. I still, Rob, as well as he's playing, and I'm not saying he's playing great, but, he's playing good. I don't think you can trade him. I still don't think you can trade him.
You don't think anybody wants him? No?
For that contract, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
at that contract, I think he's 34, isn't he?
But isn't the responsibility of the it's not the responsibility
if
of
they
Denver?
traded him, that team, now obviously they could pay some of it, and maybe that would be something they might do.
If I'm them, I would not take that contract without them paying. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean,
they'd have to pay me to take
you'd
that.
I think you'd have the lion's share of it, but he's 34. I don't know. I mean, Rob, a team that feels like it's close, like if Cleveland didn't have Deshaun Watson, would they have done it? Been interested in the Russell Wilson? Maybe. Pittsburgh?
Yeah,
maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. With that money, no. I say no.
Yeah, it's hard to see somebody taking the money, but I don't know. But it'll be, and maybe Denver won't want to get rid of him. You know,
I mean, there is always that possibility because we've heard all the stories leaked that he doesn't like him, he doesn't want him, this, that, and the other thing. If the guy wins you 10 games and they say you don't make the 10 and 7, where are you going? Like it's okay.
Right, you're not getting Caleb Williams or anybody like that in the draft. So yeah, I hear. Did we lose Rob? I know on the Zoom he froze up. You
No,
still
I'm
there?
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like who are you getting, Chris? You can say you don't want him, but who's going to be your quarterback? Like there's 12 teams looking for quarterbacks right now.
Nah, that's true. And he's not. Again, he's playing fine.
Look at Derek. Look at the Raiders.
Great, but he's playing fine. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Derek Carr. We can't wait. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. And now you got Jimmy G.
No, Aiden McConnell.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right.
Aiden McConnell.